Ah, shit. Get your tea and your popcorn because we have hit yet another psychological jackpot. That's right, we're going to be talking about the one, the only Simone Biles. So, I did a video a while back talking about the internalized colorism of unambiguous black women and how sometimes it comes out in their dating preferences. Have you ever noticed that when a black man dates a series of mixed and light skinned women, if he had a dating history of multiple light skinned women and no dark skinned black women would call that man a colorist. But whenever you see dark skinned black women doing the same patterns, like Simone Biles, nobody says anything. No one wants to admit that Simone Biles clearly has a type, and her type is mixed race men, light skinned men, anyone who's lighter than her. And if you look at this Johnathan Owens guy, he has that quote unquote pretty hair. You know, the hair that kind of hangs down, so he doesn't have locks. He has like the hair that hangs down in a bayang. He's got the slightly lighter eyes and the caramely skin tone. So clearly this is Simone Biles' type. And I don't hear any unambiguous black women calling her out, saying that she is biased or that she could potentially be a quote unquote colorist chasing after any man who is lighter than her. So if you guys haven't seen my other videos, I've been keeping up with Simone Biles for about a year because she's a great case study. And she's the one who she met Johnathan Owens on a dating app. She drove 45 minutes to meet up with him, and I believe their first date was like at his house. So basically it was like, oh, come over. And then, she's the one that was driving 45 minutes to see him. On the interview that they did a while back, Johnathan Owens said that he was a catch. And when they asked Johnathan about how he met her and like how they got together, he responded by saying, oh, you need to ask her how she caught me. So it's very clear that Johnathan Owens believes that he's the prize. And if you look at Johnathan Owens' exes, his exes are women who look nothing like Simone Biles. From what I saw, they looked mainly like white girls or something, or non-black women. So just looking through some of the red flags from Simone Biles and her relationship with Johnathan Owens, first of all, it's hypogamous. So Simone Biles is an internationally known Olympic gymnast. So she's got millions upon millions of dollars. You guys know that a lot of gold medalists, they get really big brand deals with really big companies and stuff. But let's take a look at Simone Biles' wedding. So according to people.com, her original wedding band was from Amazon. Yep, that's right. She has a wedding band from Amazon, and she is married to this Johnathan Owens guy. So I'm just curious. My question for all the black female hypergamy content creators, is this the type of lifestyle that you would recommend for unambiguous black women? Like, do you want their men to get them rings from Amazon, or like what? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how this is supposed to be something to aspire to. Not to mention the fact that on her wedding day, remember how there were like pictures of Simone Biles and then black women were saying that she had nappy edges and that her edges looked messed up. So you're telling me that a multi-million-dollar gymnast who is wealthy, she has all these good qualities, she marries a man and the man doesn't even care about her having a nice wedding ring and not having to wear rings from Amazon. Oh, did I mention the fact that her wedding dress was $119? I wonder who paid for that dress. I'm just curious. Was it her? Like, did she pay for her own wedding dress of $119? Or did he pay and he's like, look, you gonna get this $120 dress? Like, I'm just wondering how that worked out. And then after the wedding, multiple articles started coming out about Simone Biles. Takeaways from Simone Biles' home building nightmare. Simone Biles hints at major setback in home build. Simone Biles opens up about the difficulties of building her own home. So, on top of her paying for her own stuff, or if she didn't pay for it, he paid for it and it was very cheap. She's got Amazon wedding bands. She had a $119 wedding dress. Her edges were sweat out during the wedding. So she couldn't even have a hairstylist or some edge control to brush down her edges and to give the sleek look that a lot of black women want to have so bad, to the point where Simone Biles actually got bullied by black women. So she was not being protected. She was not being provided for. But then on top of that, after they get married, you see Simone Biles going on multiple spirals and crashing out on social media about how bad it is having to go to this construction site to build her home. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. So she basically switched careers and became a construction worker because after they got married, I didn't see Johnathan Owens in any of her stories where they were building the house. He was nowhere to be seen. So he was out living his best life. Have you ever noticed that Johnathan Owens, his edges always look good? He's always got his edges on fleek. His braids are shiny. His hair is moisturized. His skin is smooth. His tattoos are shining in the sun. They're glistening. He's got glistening earrings on in every photo. Meanwhile, Simone has got her edges sweat out. She is showing pictures of herself on a construction site. She said in one of her IG stories that she stayed at the construction site for over 6 hours because I guess the people were like doing a bad job building her house. Like she was having a lot of, basically they were doing a bad job in terms of business. Like they weren't building it how she wanted to. So I'm just curious, like, is Simone the one who was in charge of all this? How much you want to bet it was Simone? Simone is probably what, in her 20s, maybe in her mid 20s. So that is how strenuous her marriage already is with this Johnathan Owens guy. So she's getting into the marriage. She's already in a hypogamous marriage. So it's clear that Johnathan Owens knows that he has the looks factor. That's essentially what it is because, I mean, that's the only thing I can think of that Johnathan Owens could have some sort of leverage with is looks because it's not money, it's not career. It's not his position as an athlete. I've never even heard of this guy until he started dating Simone Biles. So she is willing to marry him and literally build him a house. This is taking Barbara the Builder to a whole new level. I mean, you got an Olympic champion who is not practicing for the Olympics because she is building a house for you, Johnathan Owens. I mean, if that's not him living his feminine soft life, I don't know what is. Imagine being in Johnathan Owens' position. You get to wear shiny diamond jewelry and get all these cute tattoos and get your hair braided and moisturized. Your hair's more moisturized than your wife. Your edges are slick. You got the baby hairs laying down. And while you're out playing safety for a football team, I don't even know what a safety is. So I'm just going to assume the safety is probably like if all the other players get hurt in an accident or like they break their legs on the field and then they have to be taken off by the paramedic. The safety is like, you know, he's there to be the backup player in case everybody else on the field breaks their legs. That's the safety. That's what I'm thinking of. So that's probably his position. So maybe he sits up in the bleachers or something and then he waits for people to get injured and then he goes on the field. But if you look at Simone Biles' Instagram stories, she's always posting this guy on her stories. He's on her stories 24/7. I do not see him posting her on his Instagram as much as she posts him, but she's already building a house. And on top of that, the reason I created this video is because Simone Biles recently admitted that she is considering quitting the Olympics. So she will not be coming back. They asked her if she was going to like compete in the next one. And she was like, oh, well, you know, I just want to be humble and you got to know when it's time to be done. So my first question is, who told Simone Biles that like it's time to be humble and like know when you're done or that she's being greedy? Because Simone Biles said that she didn't want to be greedy. You know, she kind of wanted to like step back. And I find it interesting, like the timing of all this. So after she gets married to this guy who literally comes off as a lazy athlete compared to her. Oh, and by the way, Simone Biles in an interview, she said that Johnathan Owens, that they tried to work out together and that he couldn't even keep up with her workouts. And then she also said that her and Johnathan Owens do not discuss sports because they end up arguing back and forth about like who's the better athlete, who can do certain workouts. And that is how they ended up doing a workout together. And she found out that he couldn't even keep up. So I'm wondering like, who is in Simone Biles' ear telling her that, oh, you know, you've done good enough. You can just kind of take a step back. So I'm wondering if her husband has anything to do with that. I'm not sure if he does. But what I found interesting was that in a recent article, she talked about how she didn't want to be a snob. So if you look at Yahoo Sports, she says if you go back, you'll be greedy. Those are the consequences. When you're younger, it's like prom, college. Now it's like starting a family, being away from my husband. What's really worth it? Okay, so she is telling you guys that she is not going to go back to the Olympics most likely because she doesn't want to be away from her husband. The same husband that she married, where her edges were fucked up on her wedding day. She couldn't even have edge control. Her wedding dress was $119. She got her wedding band from Amazon. She had to build an entire house. And now she's saying that she's taking a step back from her career so that she can stay with her husband, who plays a safety. So I guess my question is, who's going to be paying the bills, first of all? I mean, Simone Biles, she can still live off of brand deals the rest of her life. But I mean, Johnathan Owens, he is a hypergamous king. He needs to start a hypergamy podcast. I think he would make so much money off of that. I mean, he could probably match Simone Biles' income. They could at least go 50-50. If he just started a hypergamy podcast about, how to catch a sugar mama, or like how to be a sugar baby to a sugar mama who's in her 20s, that would be such a good business idea for Johnathan Owens. But she's saying that she's not wanting to be away from her husband, and so she's going to take a step back from the Olympics. Also, she recently posed for Sports Illustrated. So it's interesting how she's suddenly starting to bring up the sex appeal a little bit more in her image. She wants to be a little sexy now. She wants to show off a little bit of cleavage now. So what is going on with this change in Simone Biles? Oh, and another thing I found was that she said that her engagement ring to Johnathan Owens, that is her prized possession. So my question is, which engagement ring, Simone? The one from Amazon or the other one? Because she has two different engagement rings. So I guess like the ring wasn't ready or something like that. Johnathan Owens, he doesn't really have it like that in terms of finances. So he probably had to put it on a payment plan, or he couldn't get it done in the proper amount of time. So Johnathan was like, hey, I ain't got the money for the ring right now, but you know what? I can get you $100 Amazon ring. And then after this, you want to build us a house, baby? Look, I ain't paying for the wedding dress. You could get a $119 dress. That's it. I ain't paying for no hairstylist. I had to get my braids done. I had to get my hair twisted. Who you think you is, Simone Biles? You the one who caught me on the dating app. I'm the prize in this relationship, Simone. I need to get my edges laid for the wedding. So this girl is literally quitting her job. She is going to leave her legacy. Like, she's not interested in continuing it or building it back up, and she doesn't want to be away from her husband. Do you think that there's a potential that her NFL husband could be cheating or looking at other women? Because why is it that she's now suddenly like, oh, I want to be in Sports Illustrated and I want to like kind of be sexy and I don't want to travel and be away from him training for the Olympics anymore? What do you ladies think? Do you think that a part of the reason why Simone Biles chose to get with this guy could be because of his phenotype? Do you think that Simone Biles could potentially be a person who is a colorist? Do you think that if Simone Biles would have been an unambiguous black man with that same dating history of dating every guy that's lighter than her, do you think that she would be called a colorist? What do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.